Hello, my name is Raymond Garchewski, and I am a living Christ. I have a message for most of you that its time has come. I have been writing and speaking and creating YouTubes on the internet for the last 19 years. I am speaking to a brick wall, to a faceless audience that hides behind a brick wall of ignorance. There are a few of you who systematically attack this Christ, this simple man of truth. For that is what a Christ is. He's not a myth. He's not some superhuman. He's not some mythical icon that has been drummed into you repeatedly through the repetitions of religions, the man standing in a pulpit telling you what you should think, telling you stories. Oh, you folks love storytellers. You love to be entertained. You don't love truth. You love the idea of truth, which is a fiction, which is a fairy tale itself. You want to believe. Your whole life is based on a fictitious belief that has been systematically indoctrinated into you by hidden forces through the institutions of government and religions. These are the satanic controllers, mind controllers, that rule the world, that rule you by giving you the illusion that you're in some sort of control of your life when you have no control whatsoever. The newspaper articles, stories indicate that with all the wars that these United States of America, or this, I should rather say, this U.S. corporate government, the de facto government that has replaced the de jure U.S. government, is responsible for. You are at the mercy of mind controllers who tell you what to think, not how to think. They send you to school and they indoctrinate you into this belief system and respect for authority, and do not question authority. That follows most of you throughout your whole life. And what has it done? It has made you a slave to authority, a doubting slave, one who gives up their will, their free will, to act according to the truth in your own life in favor of obeying. Blind obedience to these authority figures. That is the story of your life. And you can see what it's done with all the wars that we have created, that you have funded with your own sweat and blood. You are paying for these wars. Trillions of dollars go into war to keep us separated from our fellow man, to keep us in contradiction with each other, and to keep us in a state of contradiction within our own intellect, for we are full of doubt. There is very little clarity that is reflected in the actions of the average man living in this country, or in any country for that matter. For their leaders are in control, and they dictate what is going to happen, and you, each of you, merely cave into it. You believe you have no power, when in fact all the power lies in your hands. If you understood, if you realized who you truly were, for you are all potential Christs, that is, simple men and women of truth. You see, you have been inundated with these myths, these fairy tales, these stories of superhuman icons that are supposed to be a sample of what you should be yourself, something for you to emulate, for you to achieve. Yet you never achieve anything in your life because you are blocked from it. It is time that you folks wake up. I am fed up with talking to ignoramuses, to people who have sacrificed their own sovereignty as children of God, of divine intelligence. How long can you continue this way without aiding and abetting your own self-destruction by supporting these institutions that are creating the chemtrails, that are polluting our waters, that are polluting our food, the very sustenance of life? They are killing, soft killing, quietly killing millions of people with their policies. Yet you don't utter a word. You don't do a damned thing about it. You just comply and you give in. You cave in. That is not what life is. That is not who you truly are, yet you believe it to be. And therefore your actions are directed by unseen forces that control the media, control the news that you receive, and put a spin, creating division on their renditions of such media reporting. Hence you have enemies. Everyone points to the enemy as the source of the problem, and we are merely trying to deal with it. Baloney. You don't listen. You only hear what you want to hear. And then you support the very institutions that put your life in jeopardy, that threaten you, your family, your children, your grandchildren, and goes on to the children of your children, ad infinitum. This is the way of the satanic world of civilized society. It was begun at the beginning of time in the first civilization, and the satanic hold over the intellect of believing people, such as yourself, has never ended. It has created hell on earth, and it exists and continues to exist only with your support and consent. What the hell is wrong with you people that you should create a hell and support it, while believing that you are working your way out of hell to achieve heaven? Heaven is truth. You don't know what truth is. You know what has been told to you, what has been indoctrinated to you as truth, and you believe that idea of truth to be the object of your worship. When you do that, you worship Satan, the god of intellect, and you support hell with your very being, with your very labor, and you make that into a virtue. Look around you. What is virtuous about this life that you find yourself involved in? War? Antagonism toward anyone other than you? That is what you've done. You've divided yourself, and then you argue endlessly with your imagined foe, who actually is the same as you. If they are caught in their intellect, they too require you to be their opponent, so they have someone to argue and to blame for their present state of awareness, their present life. You see, none of you can exist with the source of conflict that you cannot admit to, and so you create your own enemies. They are not your enemy. You are your own worst enemy when you live in your intellect, the lowest level of consciousness that has plagued mankind since the beginning of time. Most of you are outraged when I tell you that I am a simple man of truth, for that is all a Christ is. Christ consciousness is holistic consciousness. It is based in truth, non-dualistic truth. You all live in a dualistic world. That is, you're divided and opposing each other. And you think that is normal. And you oppose and argue with a simple man of truth, one who is non-dualistic, one who is who and what he says he is. His words and his actions are one. They are whole, holy, holistic. That holistic consciousness is foreign to all of you, for you operate in belief, which is dualistic, and deals with the fictional representations of that which is holistic truth. That is the source of your conflict. That is the source of your ignorance. And to your more outspoken, that is the source of your stupidity. For has it not dawned on you, after 19 years of this Christ speaking and writing on the internet, that I'm still around, and that the government, the U.S. government's intelligence community, sponsored campaign of internet disinformation agents who have sought to destroy the reputation, the credibility of this Christ, has failed, while they all scurry around hosting a legion of aliases, because they will not put their real, true name behind their words where they can be held responsible. Therefore, they can say anything they want, and the system protects them in doing so. I have sought the assistance of the FBI, the federal government itself, the state governments, and the county government, law enforcement institutions, and they will not investigate, they will not prosecute this 19-year mind control disinformation campaign that is still going on in this very moment. I have sent several requests No, I have sent several demands to the Josephine County, Oregon Sheriff Dave Daniel to investigate the latest crimes committed by his predecessors, by the Secretary of State, who is now to become the governor of Oregon, Kate Brown, who as Secretary of State, refused to investigate the crimes of her predecessors in pulling every UCC lien that I filed on the employees, on the agents of the county of Josephine and the state with regards to crimes committed against this living Christ. What the hell does it take to grab your attention and to allow your awareness to take action in holding your public servants accountable for these crimes? Why do you support them with your hard-earned money that is taken away from you for fear that you would be prosecuted, you would be jailed if you did not do so? It's time for all of you to awaken to who you truly are. And I'm not calling for you to go to war with your government. I'm merely trying to awaken you to the only peaceful resolution of an impossible, hellish relationship that you have with your government and with your religions. Do not resist evil, for anything that is based in a fiction, and you will see that government and religion are such fictional-based institutions. That means they're not alive. They're a dead creation projected by the mass consciousness of people like you who have been made to doubt yourself. You are the living, breathing, flesh and blood men and women who have created government, who have created religion, and your collective thought-based actions have created them as fictions. They have no power over you unless you believe they do. And for most of you, you do. Do not resist evil. Boycott it. Take back your money. Take back your consent. Take back your blind obedience and dissolve it. And be free. Be sovereigns. For you have always been sovereign, but that sovereign state of consciousness, that holistic state of consciousness, that would make you also Christs in your own being, at one with truth. You see, you can't imagine that to be the case. You will give up your life in support of the fiction that there was only one Christ. That's the hell that you have made for yourself by your own decisions. And it is hell, isn't it? If you don't see what I'm saying to be true, then you have damned yourself. As far as I'm concerned, what I say to you is absolute truth. You can take it or leave it. It is your life. Thank you for your time.